Hello, Bradley Viking here once again. I'm trying a new thing, doing voiceover work over just still pictures. I'm going to try to record an audiobook of a fanfic I really like called The Villain Wrangler. If you've not seen, I found it via a link from a popular picture Tumblr post that came from a Reddit post that I found on Facebook because I'm, not a spring chicken anymore. But the essential concept of the book, the writing prompt is about Make-A-Wish kids, right? You got kids who are sick in the hospital or for whatever reason, and then this charitable organization tries to make their wishes come true. It's a lovely thing, and usually they get to meet celebrities or have special events or go do things. And so it's in the comic book universe, obviously these kids are meeting heroes, superheroes all the time. Superman would come to their birthday party, they run around with the Flash. And somebody decided, what if, kids are weird? There's, kids who are fans of the villain. So what if there was a supervillain, and they're a big old fan of them, and they wanted to meet them? And then, so it's this probably happen, right? In a Marvel DC world. There'd be fanboys for these over-the-top flashy villains. Because, freeze guns are cool. That's in the thing. It's freeze guns are cool. Kids are weird and freeze guns are cool. And so what if there was, just one Make-A-Wish employee? In the original prompt it said volunteer, but, in this story, he's clearly the employee who has to go meet all these villains. He's the first one crazy enough to, try to even track down one of the supervillains and be like, hey, this kid in the hospital is a big fan of you. It would mean a lot if you would go visit them. And, tries one of the ones who are, more into just getting away with a lot of money, or they have a personal beef with the hero. But they have, a code, right? The rogues in the DC universe who fight the Flash, they have a whole no hurting women or children code. So the gentler ones, the ones who are hey, I want to make a profit. I have legit reasons, but, I'm not just going to go around blowing up innocents. And so these people still have, some moral ethics, right? And so, kid in the hospital, yeah, no, we'll go see them. And, they find one. And then that villain actually has a real connection. So then they're able to kind of tell a friend. And then this Make-A-Wish employee is able to make more connections. And they get more connected in the criminal underworld. And then the heroes start finding out, they get concerned. They try to, intervene in the hospital. And the Make-A-Wish employee decides, okay, I'm gonna stop you, and then they start to protect the villains, at least when they're in the hospital, when they're visiting a sick child or a child in need. In that case, it's no, villain won't go here, and it becomes this whole thing, and there's this really fun story taken off from this, and I think the prompt goes on a bit longer, kind of makes its own little story. Meanwhile, this becomes an actual story with the villain. But they give them the title The Villain Wrangler, and they become, known on social media. So that's a thing. So we'll call our Make-A-Wish employee The Villain Wrangler until we get into the story itself, which gives him a name. But it becomes this whole thing with The Villain Wrangler, and they do this and they do that. And the prompt is one thing. I like a shorter prompt where it's just, okay, here's the setup. Make-A-Wish kids want to meet supervillains. And then we eventually come across this villain wrangler who's the only one who's able to track them all down and becomes gets connected with all the supervillains and becomes the one they trust. It's a pretty fun story. There is adult language, a lot of cursing, and I'm not going to censor it. I will fix phonetically. There's a couple typos, very rare. The story is very well written. Little Hawkeye is the username. I'll link all the stuff. I'll link to their story. They should get all the credit. They wrote it. I just want to read it, so there's an audiobook version of it for people who are more into listening to stories than sitting and reading them. Because I think this is actually a really good story. And it does have plenty of exposure. I think it deserves even more. It is set in the DC universe. So our boys hanging out with Batman villains, Flash villains. It goes all around. It's pretty well-rounded, just meeting all of your favorites and various characters from the DC universe, and just this guy who lives in Gotham, and he's aware of these people, but he doesn't have time to put up with their nonsense. And I hope you enjoy me reading it, and I can make this work.